Hello everyone, I'll be talking about sympathomimetic drugs. The sympathetic nervous system is the part of the autonomic nervous system which deals with fight or flight situations. That is, whenever an animal is in danger and uh, is fighting or running away, that is flight, then the sympathetic nervous system is activated. The term fight or flight describes the mechanism in the body that enables humans and animals to mobilize a lot of energy rapidly in order to cope up with threats of survival. So, what happens is in these situations, say for example, to fight or to run away, lot of energy will be required suddenly, and this energy is provided by the liver. The blood supply to the muscles are required so that the muscles can uh, work hard, and for all these things the heart has to pump faster, the lungs have to uh, work more and deliver more oxygen. So this is a status in which there is mobilization of large amount of energy so that the animal can sustain the stress. So this slide shows a situation of flight wherein the person who is running away from the bear has to act fast. So his hypothalamus is activated, and it in turn activates the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system, when activated, causes cardiovascular and respiratory stimulation, so that there is increase in heart rate and blood pressure as well as increase in respiratory rate. This helps in more oxygenation of blood and increasing the blood supply. The adrenal medulla is also stimulated by hypothalamus through the sympathetic nervous system, leading to release of adrenaline into the blood. This adrenaline will act on skeletal muscles, liver, heart, and blood vessels. Action on blood vessels leads to more blood supply towards the heart as towards the skeletal muscles, and there is inhibition of the GIT so that the digestive function is kept at a halt for the time being. So in this way, there are adjustments that occur in the autonomic nervous system so that the person is more in position to run away. The adrenergic agonists are drugs that will stimulate the sympathetic nervous system or have activity similar to that of the activation of sympathetic nervous system. So these agonists are divided into depending upon the chemical structure as catecholamines and non-catecholamines. The catecholamine group of drugs contain a catechol attached with an ethyl amine, while the non-catecholamine group of drugs are prepared artificially in the lab. The adrenergic transmission occurs through release of noradrenaline into the synaptic junctions of the sympathetic nervous system, and these are also known as noradrenergic nerve fibers, and the transmission is restricted to the sympathetic division of autonomic nervous system, and the thoracolumbar outflow is the sympathetic division of the ANS. The endogenous catecholamines consist of noradrenaline, adrenaline, and dopamine. Noradrenaline is the main neurotransmitter that is released at the sympathetic nerve endings, except for the sweat glands and hair follicles, where acetylcholine is released, leading to sweating and piloerection. Some vasodilator fibers, which are sympathetic in nature, release acetylcholine, leading to vasodilation. Adrenaline is the main catecholamine that is released from adrenal medulla upon sympathetic stimulation. Dopamine is one of the major neurotransmitters in the CNS, and it has limited activity in the periphery, although it acts on the other adrenergic receptors as well, other than the dopaminergic receptors. The catecholamines in the body are produced from phenylalanine, which is an amino acid. This phenylalanine enters into the liver cells and is acted upon by hydroxylase enzyme, leading to formation of tyrosine. Tyrosine enters into the neuronal cells, that is adrenergic neuronal cells, and in the neuronal cytoplasm it is again acted upon by hydroxylase enzyme, which forms dihydroxyphenylalanine or DOPA. This DOPA is again converted into dopamine by decarboxylation, and now this dopamine which is formed is released in dopaminergic nerve fibers, while in adrenergic nerve fibers this dopamine is taken up into the vesicles and acted upon by beta hydroxylase enzyme, giving rise to noradrenaline. Noradrenaline at this step is ready to be released from the vesicles into the synaptic cleft in the noradrenergic nerve fibers or sympathetic nerve fibers. While in adrenal medulla, this noradrenaline is again acted upon by N-methyltransferase to form adrenaline, which is the main sympathetic chemical released in the from the adrenal medulla. Although adrenaline is a part of sympathetic nervous system, it is not a neurotransmitter, but it is a hormone. This is the diagrammatic representation of storage, release, uptake and metabolism of catecholamines. The phenylalanine that is converted into tyrosine in the liver is taken up by the presynaptic sympathetic nerve fibers. This tyrosine is ultimately converted into dopamine in the cytoplasm of the neurons. Dopamine is taken up into the vesicles and converted into noradrenaline. Noradrenaline is stored in these vesicles along with ATP and is released upon sympathetic nerve stimulation. Once it is released in the synaptic cleft, it acts on both presynaptic and postsynaptic adrenergic receptors. The termination of noradrenaline occurs by the reuptake of noradrenaline by noradrenaline transporters. Once it is taken up into the same presynaptic neuron, it is acted upon by monoamine oxidases that is present in the mitochondria, which causes termination of or disintegration of noradrenaline. The COMT, that is catechol O methyl transferases, also act on noradrenaline, leading to its degradation. The adrenergic receptors are membrane bound G protein coupled receptors, which are divided into alpha and beta receptors. The alpha receptors have affinity towards adrenaline with lesser affinity towards noradrenaline and least with isoprenaline. Upon stimulation of alpha receptors, the IP3-DAG pathway is activated, the cyclic AMP synthesis is reduced, and the potassium channels are opened. The alpha-1 receptor stimulation causes excitation, while alpha-2 receptor stimulation causes inhibition. The alpha-2 receptor is mainly present presynaptically, which causes further stopping of noradrenaline release. The beta receptors are divided into beta-1, beta-2 and beta-3 subtypes. The most affinity of beta receptors is towards isoprenaline, followed by adrenaline and equally noradrenaline. Stimulation of beta receptors lead to increase in the cyclic AMP formation and opening of the calcium channels. All beta receptors are excitatory in nature. Let us have a look at the various actions of catecholamines on the body. The blood vessels have both alpha and beta receptors. Stimulation of alpha receptor causes vasoconstriction, while beta 2 receptor stimulation causes vasodilation. Beta 2 receptors are mainly present on the skeletal muscles. That is why sympathetic stimulation leads to increase in the blood supply of skeletal muscles. There are both alpha and beta receptors in the heart. Stimulation of alpha 1 receptors as well as beta 2 receptor causes increase in the heart rate. Beta 1 receptor stimulation causes increase in the heart rate as well as increase in the AV nodal conduction and increase in the force of contraction. The alpha receptor stimulation in the eye causes mydriasis by activation of alpha 1 receptor in the radial muscles of the iris. The alpha 2 receptor stimulation in the eye causes decrease in the cyclic AMP formation, which causes decrease in the aqueous secretion, as well as alpha 1 receptors in the blood vessels of the eye causes ciliary vasoconstriction, leading to again decrease in the aqueous secretion, while beta receptor stimulation causes increase in the aqueous secretion. However, upon sympathetic stimulation, the alpha action predominates so that there is decrease in the intraocular pressure. Stimulation of beta 2 receptors in the bronchi causes relaxation of the smooth muscles, leading to bronchodilation. In the intestine, there is reduction in the peristalsis and contraction of the sphincters. In the urinary bladder, contraction of the sphincter by activation of alpha 1 receptor and relaxation of the urinary bladder, that is the detrusor muscle, by stimulation of beta 2 receptor. Both of these lead to retention of urine. In the uterus, the alpha 1 receptor stimulation causes contraction, while beta 2 receptor causes relaxation of the uterus. The splenic capsule consists of alpha 1 receptors which predominate and contraction of which leads to release of blood through the spleen or contraction of the splenic capsule, while beta 2 receptor stimulation causes relaxation of splenic capsule. The alpha receptor stimulation at the neuromuscular junction causes facilitation of release of acetylcholine so that there is more muscle contraction, while beta 2 receptor stimulation at this site causes tremors. The alpha 2 receptors in the pancreas are stimulated to cause decrease in the insulin secretion, while the beta 2 receptor stimulation in the pancreas increases glucagon secretion. So both of these lead to increase in the glucose concentration in the blood. In the liver, the beta 2 receptors are stimulated so that there is increase in the glucose by breakdown of glycogen, while in the adipose tissue, beta receptor stimulation causes lipolysis. Both of these lead to mobilization of fat to form glucose or glucagon to form glucose, leading to increase in blood glucose levels. In the kidney, beta 1 receptors stimulation causes renin release, which is an important part of the renin angiotensin aldosterone system. In the males, alpha 1 receptor causes ejaculation by contraction of vas deferens. In the salivary glands, the sympathetic stimulation leads to release of more water and potassium in the secretions, while beta 1 receptor at the pituitary stimulation leads to release of antidiuretic hormone. The effect of different catecholamines on the body are different owing to their differential actions or affinities towards the adrenergic receptors. Adrenaline acts on all the receptors, that is alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1, beta 2 and beta 3. while noradrenaline acts on all receptors except beta 2, that is, it acts on alpha 1, alpha 2 and beta 1, beta 3 receptors. Isoprenaline has no alpha action, that is, it acts only on beta 1, beta 2 and beta 3 receptors. Remember, all these actions are seen at the therapeutic dosages. At high dosages, these affinity or receptor selectivity is lost. Now, the effect of adrenaline on the heart rate is that it is increased due to beta 1 receptor stimulation, while effect of noradrenaline on heart rate is that it is reduced. This occurs because noradrenaline has a vasopressor effect, that is, it increases the blood pressure, which causes a negative feedback leading to inhibition of sympathetic system and stimulation of parasympathetic system, both of which lead to decrease in the heart rate. While with isoprenaline, which has the maximum affinity towards beta 1 receptor, the heart rate is much increased as compared to that of adrenaline. The cardiac output is increased with adrenaline and isoprenaline, while there is no effect on cardiac output with noradrenaline. The systolic blood pressure is much increased with both adrenaline and noradrenaline, while it is not increased to that extent with isoprenaline. The diastolic blood pressure might be increased or decreased or may not be affected with adrenaline, while with noradrenaline it is always increased, and with isoprenaline the diastolic blood pressure is decreased because it has no alpha action, it does not cause vasoconstriction. The mean blood pressure is increased with adrenaline because it has much increase in the systolic blood pressure, as well as the diastolic blood pressure is either slightly reduced or maintained. The mean blood pressure is always increased with adrenaline, while with noradrenaline the mean blood pressure is much increased because it has alpha action and no beta 2 action, which is vasodilatory in nature, so it is always increased with noradrenaline. So that is why it is known as a vasopressor. With isoprenaline, because there is no vasoconstrictive alpha action, the blood pressure is always, the mean blood pressure is always reduced with isoprenaline. With respect to the bronchial smooth muscles, these are relaxed with both isoprenaline and adrenaline, as both can activate the beta 2 receptors, while noradrenaline has no effect on beta 2 receptors, so it has no effect on the bronchial muscles. So that is all. In the next session, I will be talking about the therapeutic uses and classification of adrenergic drugs. Thank you.